Hey everybody, welcome back to Prescription Bourbon. I'm DMC from Louisville, Kentucky. Today I'm doing a blind flight tasting of the basic Jim Beam lineup. So this lineup today consists of the basic Jim Beam bottles that are offered on the market today. Doesn't include the small batch collection like Knob Creek, Baker's, Booker's, or any special releases. But these are the bottles that are typically offered and should be widely available pretty much nationwide. I do have the Jim Beam Black, which is comes in at 86 proof and is listed as extra aged. This did used to have an 8-year age statement, so it was basically twice aged or double aged. But it's just listed now as extra aged, and their website says that it's most likely about 7-year-old, 7-year-old whiskey in here. So, got Jim Beam Bonded, which is bottle and bond, comes in at 100 proof, most likely just 4 years old, and they do have a little write up here about the Bottle and Bond Act of 1897, and the label's decorated with several keys all over it, very similar to like larceny, if you think of larceny and their little key symbol symbolizing the locked government warehouses. So I've got Jim Beam Double Oaked. This comes in at 86 proof also, and this basically says it's a regular Jim Beam and then matured a second time in oak barrels. And then I also have the Jim Beam Single Barrel, which comes in at 108 proof, and this is listed as non-chill filter. So the range in proofs here, got a couple 86s, got a 100, and we've got 108. So, they're kind of close in range, not super tight, but no real outliers here. The one bottle that I left out of this flight is the Jim Beam White Label, which is their basic offering, and this comes in at 80 proof. All these bottles have the same whiskey in them. The Jim Beam mash bill is 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. So, a fairly lowish rye mash bill. But this guy, 80 proof and just aged 4 years. So all these other ones are aged a little bit longer or a little bit higher proof. So similar to I did with my Wild Turkey flight a while back. I left that baseline bottle out of the flight because I felt like it would just fall short. All right, I'm going to go through and give these a nose, give them a taste, and rank them for my taste preferences for today. I've already got these glasses poured. They're in a random order. They're not in the same order that these bottles are sitting on the table, hopefully. And, I'm going to call this A, B, C, D, and I'll go through and let you know what I think. So, starting with Class A. All right, Class A has a nice caramel aroma on it, so that's the overwhelming aroma I get off of A. Class B. Alright, Class B is more of a rye spice aroma. A little bit of oak on that too, but more of a rye. C. C's got a lot of vanilla on it, so that's what jumps out at me there. So far I've got caramel, rye and oak, vanilla. Class D. Wow, Class D. It's a real nice nose on it. If I didn't know any better, I would think this is a little older. Definitely has some very nice oak on it. but it has some caramel in there also. So, yeah. So A seems a little younger with that caramel. Yeah, I think. Yeah, probably the Bonded and the Double Oaked are closer to the 4-year mark. They don't say how long they extra aged this in the second oak barrels, but it's probably just months and not years. So, all right, I'm gonna go through and give these a taste. Class A. All right, Class A. I got some rye spice on the tongue. I got some oak on the tongue there. I had a good amount of warmth going down. That spice lingers on the tongue, so I know I smelled caramel on A, but I didn't get a lot of sweet. It was more rye spice and slight warmth. So nice taste. Class B. Cheers. All right, B had sweetness. It was sweeter than A for sure. Didn't get that spice right up front, but it did come later. Definitely didn't have the warmth that A had going down though either. So B's a little sweeter. Late spice. Spice doesn't linger like A did, so I would say the spice is less. Yeah, probably preferred A over B on that first pass. C, cheers. All right, C has had late spice also, but it's a lot stronger spice. So it had some sweetness similar to B. Spice is definitely lingering. Had more of a mouthfeel to it too, more of a viscous mouth coating on it. So very pleasant, and that peppery spice is still lingering. So very long finish, and that might be that coating on the mouth and the tongue. Maybe it's just clinging on there, and that spice is lingering. So, do you taste? All right, D. D has some sweet. It has some spice. I'd say it has a little bit of a thicker mouthfeel also. So C and D had a little bit thicker mouthfeel. Spice is lingering. It's less than C for sure. But there's more sweet on this one also. And probably a little bit of vanilla on the taste too. On that nose, I'd say D has my favorite nose out of these, and it's got a lighter and almost a maltiness on the nose, so which is odd, but it's a lighter nose, not so dark with rye or the oak or anything like that, so it's just more vanilla. So I think D had my favorite nose on the first pass, and C probably was my favorite sip on the first pass. So I'm gonna let these sit. I'll grab a sip of water, come back, taste them again, and let you know what I think. Before I get into my second round of tasting, just cover a few things here. First off, welcome viewers. If you're new here, I hope you're enjoying the show. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I really appreciate you watching. Hit that like button if you like what you're seeing here. Hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think of Jim Beam lineup and which Jim Beam bottles are your favorites. There's a few other bottles that they have. They've had some special releases or limited releases over the last few years. One of which was Distiller's Cut. Came in at 100 proof, similar to the bottle and bond here. In fact, I'm not 100% sure that this bonded is still even actually being produced by them or still on the market. I don't see it anywhere anymore, so I don't know if it's just currently unavailable or they're phasing it out. I'm not sure, but the Distiller's Cut was great because it was hand selected by Fred No. The barrels were, and it was non-chill filtered. Also, it was a great pour. I really liked that. Right now they've got the Old Tub limited release out, special release out. And that comes in at 100. It's a bottle and bond, and it comes in at 100 proof also. And it is very much different flavor profile, though. It's got a lot more of that Jim Beam peanut taste on it that a lot of people always associate with Jim Beam is that peanut shell taste. They've got they've got Devil's Cut, which is out there also. To me, the Devil's Cut's got a little bit of a hokiness to it as far as its story and the way it's made, so I didn't feel too bad leaving it out of this lineup. But I think this is a pretty solid lineup. It's a pretty good representation of what Jim Beam has. The price on these, I mentioned the range in proofs. The price on these is a lot tighter than the proof range. The standard Jim Beam white label, you can easily find for under $20. Around that $18 to $20 price point. This black label's only a couple dollars more. So this is here in Kentucky, I can pick this up for $20 if I'm lucky. But you're talking about $20 to $22. Same price for this bonded. Same price for this double oak. So these are all at $20, $22 price range. And the single barrel is probably more like $24 to $28 price range around here. So it's it's about $4 or $5 more. They had the old single barrel was only 95 proof, and honestly, this new one at 108 proof. I think it's a great offering, and I think in some markets this does go up to closer to $40, which is crazy. At $26, this guy's a steal. At $40, maybe not so much, but we'll see. All right, I'm gonna go back through, taste them again, and give you my final rankings. So starting with Glass D this time. Cheers. Yeah, definitely have that sweet, that vanilla on there. It's a good mouth coating. Definitely no spice at the beginning, but it does come later. But short finish, sweet finish. But the spice doesn't come so much later, just a little bit. So I think when I got that spice on my first go around, it was probably from these other glasses that came before it. So Glass C. Spicy. It does have some oak in there. It's got some sweetness. A little bit of that Jim Beam nuttiness. But the oak is right there with it. So the mouthfeel, like I say, is noticeable. That's a good sip. That's a really good sip. Could be hard to beat. C. B. Yeah, there's nothing jumping out at B, putting it ahead of anything else. It does have some sweetness. It does have probably a little bit more spice than D. Sweetness is probably about the same as D. So, yeah, very, very odd. But the nose on D is the most unique. Taste of B and D are pretty similar. So, do like this nose on A. Yeah, it's got more spice than B had for sure. It's got some oak. It's a nice sip. All right, so I think A and C are similar, and I think B and D are similar. So. Noses on these two are very similar. I'm going to give the nod to A on the nose, though. Yeah, and it's got a good flavor and all that. It's not, the flavor profile is just not as cohesive as it could be. There's something there that's a little ragged, or a little, yeah. It's not as rounded as it could be. You'll see it taste again. Yeah. C is definitely more rounded. It's got more of a mouthfeel, has more spice, has longer spice. So I'd say on the taste and the finish, and that spice, it lingers and lingers. Well, best finish of them all. So C is my clear-cut winner. I don't know what it is on the nose on D. I get a maltiness on the nose. B is completely underwhelming. As suspected, I'm going to put A on the taste and the finish above D even. I'm super curious to figure out what the nose going on D. Still like its nose possibly better than all of them. So my final order here is B is last, and then C, and then A. I'm sorry, B's last, and then D, and then A, and then C. All right, let's see what we have. So my rankings today, coming in fourth place is Jim Beam Black. So the extra aged. I've said before in some other videos I've done, about probably going on 10 years ago now, but quite a while back. This was my number one drink of choice. I drank a lot of Jim Beam Black. Like I say, back then it was age stated as 8 years. That's before I had my YouTube channel, obviously, before I really got into bourbon and all that. But I drank a lot of Jim Beam Black. Loved it, still like it, but comes in last here today. So, third place is the Double Oaked. So, Double Oaked right here. So, yeah. So that, I don't know why I'm getting a maltiness on that. I think this did have a little bit of a viscous mouthfeel compared to A and B. I think C and D had that going on. So I know this is chill filtered, 86 proof, but had a little bit of spice, but it had a good aroma, a lot of vanilla on it. And maybe that the maltiness is part of that vanilla, or some honey or something coming through. But very nice. Third place. So second place, over here, Class A, is the Bottle and Bond. So Bottle and Bond. So this has some spice to it. Not aged as much as a Jim Beam Black though. So can't really can't really explain that too much. These should be basically the same whiskey going to the same barrels, and this is only aged 4 years, and this is aged probably 7 years. I mean, the big difference is the proof, though, right? So the Bottle and Bond obviously is 100 proof, and the black is only 86 proof. So that means my number one class today, my winner, is the single barrel. So, highest proof, 108 proof. It is non-chill filtered. I think the that mouthfeel kind of came through, kind of made this guy shine. But he's the most well-rounded one of them all here. Honestly, it's got the most spice. It's got the best finish. It does have some vanilla. It's got a lot of good oak on the taste. So very well-rounded pour. And like I say, if you can get this in the $26 plus or minus a couple dollar price range, this is a good buy. If your market pushes it up closer to $40, that's your call. But at $26, it's a nice pickup. Very nice. Delicious pour. All right, once again, I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you hit that like, leave some comments and subscribe, all those things. All right, everybody, remember, as always, all bourbon is whiskey, but all whiskey is not bourbon. The best bourbon comes from Kentucky. The best whiskey comes from America. Cheers.